Introduce a country not familiar to, Djibouti, where I'm glad to say we've made a brand new discovery of a greenfields epithermal gold province. The usual disclaimer. Where is Djibouti? Just to fill you in the Horn of Africa. It's a very small country, only 24,000 square kilometers. To put that in perspective, Western Cape is 129,000. So a very, very small country. Strategically very important. There's been an American base there for some time. The Chinese have just completed their first base and also building a naval base on the north coast of Tajura. Djibouti as a port is a key hub. Everything that comes into Ethiopia currently comes through the Djibouti port. There's been a new railway built by the Chinese from Djibouti to Addis, but that won't alleviate all the traffic that comes through into Ethiopia at the moment. So some of the early exploration, people ask me how do we end up in Djibouti and how do we make these discoveries? These are very early exploration. The map on the left is J.W. Gregory, who first defined the African Rift Valley in 1896. The famous East African explorer Wilfred Thesiger walked through here in 1933-34, all the way into the Gulf of Tajura. So this is the main African Rift Valley, and here we reach what's called a triple point junction, a very unique geological environment with a lot of hotspot activity and geothermal, and that's one of the target regions we felt we could find gold in the East African Rift. Again, this is some of the very early stuff. The black and white picture actually taken by Thesiger in 1933, what he calls sinters. Sinters, as you know, are very high-level examples of epithermal systems. In actual fact, he described them wrong. They're called carbonate tuffers, and you can see the ones below with the Carver scale. These are huge calcium carbonate accretions that develop along hot spring lines underwater. Of course, here now the lake's been drained, and what you see are these unique conical features standing out of what was the lake floor. Indications of epithermal mineralization. Nothing been done here before. The American USGS did define potential epithermal gold in 1997. There was one small amount of work done by a private company on a project called Garabias, but that was only 6 holes drilled vertically and didn't hit any significant mineralization. The story of Thani, Stratex, Djibouti is started back in 2010, where we made the first discoveries in the Rift Valley back in Ethiopia. And that logically took us into Djibouti. We had a joint venture with Thani Ashanti, which was the Anglo-Gold Middle Eastern Alliance. And that took us into early work into Djibouti, where we made discoveries. As happens, that alliance was disbanded, and the remnants, Stratex, myself with Thani, decided to pool these assets because they're exciting discoveries that have never been drilled. So what we've achieved in the last few years is to take these from just outcropping brand new greenfields discoveries now to 2 drilled gold discoveries. And those are Ashulator and Pandora. So here's a view of the country. Fascinating geology. This is Lake Assal, minus 158 meters below sea level. The Gulf of Tajura, which is sea level. These are major graben features. This is an old, some water that did appear. Along these major graben boundaries are what are bimodal volcanics. These are felsic intrusives, and these are what drive the geothermal and now what drove the epithermal systems. We have in total 10 outcropping discoveries. We have drilled Ashulator. That was the very first program ever done systematically in Djibouti. 1,000 meters, and we proved vertical continuity down to 150 meters, and also broad disseminated mineralization within rhyolites. Where I'd like to take you down is down here here's a view of Ashulator. These are the coalesced rhyolite domes. That's over 3 kilometers long, so it was a very early, brief reconnaissance program, but we did proof of the pudding was with the results which we came up with. We've now moved down to Pandora, which I'll lead you through. Key thing to mention is we are the only country in Djibouti company. There's been no previous activity, so we've no competition, and that has allowed us to build up that unique land position of 800 square kilometers over every outcropping gold discovery we've made. A unique position to be in. We have very good government relationships we built over the years, and only 10 days ago, the minister came out to site the very first time, and that was a real boost for us. Made them appreciate what we were trying to do in the country, because this is all new to them as well. So this is Pandora, which again, a major epithermal system. We've mapped it over 10 strike kilometers with parallel structures. This is the main structure trundling down here. And then there are these secondary structures which we are now realizing very important. and we need to test those. The next picture, just to give you a feel of the scenery, will be taken looking down here, and I use 12 and 13 as a couple of our discovery holes for reference. The black here are basalts. These are as young as 100,000 years. As you can see, this is a window. And what we're looking at here in terms of epithermal mineralization is probably as young as 200,000 years. Probably some of the youngest outcropping gold mineralization on the planet at the moment. We're working on that. But here's that view. As you can see, not very difficult to identify the veining. So we're looking down, that's 12 and 13. The vein trundling down to Pandora South. The vein behind this picture goes, or structures go for another 5 kilometers, and we're looking about 5 kilometers down the strike. This is a major, huge epithermal system, which we started our work on. So taking a typical section, this is what it looks like. We proved different mineralization zones. The broad zone, 23 meters, 1.4, but within that there's 6-7 meters, 5 grams. And within that you get singular veins here going about 10.8 grams. The lower section, good continuity. Again, this vein goes 13.8 grams. The higher grade zone is about 4 meters at 3.5 grams. So that vertical continuity, and I say the mineralization is outcropping, so this is continuous at the moment down to 150 meters. And that was one of our chief objectives with the first drill program, to prove that vertical continuity as we mapped it on surface. Some amazing epithermal textures. Every drill hole brings something new to us at the moment. As I say, you're looking at multi-phase, brecciation, sealing, new influx of fluids. These are all really good indicators of a major system. And some of these textures really are absolutely outstanding. And as I say, they're probably as young as 200,000 years, which is another unique thing. So why are we really excited? Well, I mean, here's a comparison. This is Deseado Massif. You're probably familiar with the Serra Negra district. These are a series of veins, and there's a scale bar, 5 kilometers. Here's 5 kilometers over our epithermal district. There's the Pandora vein system. It continues here. It's slightly shunted. These are all outcropping gold discoveries, and actually, as I said, we'd already drilled. And we're drilling Pandora as we speak. Serra Negra was 18 years in the making, and finally was built up and sold in 2010 for $3.6 billion. That's a happy ending. I suppose the other key figure is $13 per indicated ounce discovery costs, which is easily achievable where we are. But I say 18 years in the making, this story is only 2 years old, so we have a long way to go. The shareholders of Thani, Stratex, Djibouti, we've now agreed that this has reached a stage where it's drill, drill, drill. We've done as much as we've done privately, and we're intending to take this into the public markets, seeking to raise somewhere between 5 and 8 million Canadian, and then will allow us to continue drilling on the Pandora vein system, restart drilling here, and continue our regional exploration with the aim of having a major resource on Pandora within 12 months, and likewise on Ashaleta. So there will be a lot of activity going forward. And we're here talking to people. We're keen to get strategic investors who understand the story, want to come in on a very early stage on what is a brand new epithermal district in a brand new country with a large land package that we control, and we've got no competitive activity whatsoever. And that's Lake Assal, salt. You can float on the water, minus 150 meters at sea level. I recommend you come see Djibouti anyway, just for the geology and the epithermal mineralization. It is a stunning country, and one that very few people get to visit, and it's been a privilege to work there, and certainly to find epithermal gold and be the first people to do it. And not just one, but at least 12 outcropping discoveries. Thank you.